All right, let's get started. Thank you. Good evening. I'm Dora Salm, Performing Arts Librarian at the Greenwich Library. I flew here all the way from Zoom, and boy, are my arms tired. I can promise you the jokes are going to be a little bit funnier than that. Welcome to tonight's A Night Out with Friends comedy night. This year has been such a challenge for everyone, and I think we could all use a good laugh. We are thrilled and honored to have four hilarious ladies of laughter join our virtual stage this evening. We can't think of a better way to celebrate Women's History Month than with four incredible women making it in the arts. Thank you to our guest artists and comedians, Jane Condon, Kathy Ferris, Christine Hurley, and Kelly Mcfarland for joining us this evening. Thank you to our Friends of Greenwich Library organization for keeping the arts and culture alive in Greenwich and beyond, sponsoring our program. Thank you to my friend and colleague, Carla Sherman, for helping me out backstage. And thank you to all of our attendees for spending your Thursday evening with us. Before I introduce our guests, here are a few reminders about tonight's program. This program is in a webinar format of Zoom. All attendees are in listen and view only mode. We can't see or hear the attendees, and attendees cannot see or hear each other. There is no 2-drink minimum, however, and pants are optional. Please post any questions in the Q&A section of the Zoom toolbar or the chat section of Zoom. Chat has been enabled for this program. If you would like to see the chat comments from fellow attendees, please open up the chat section of your toolbar, or you can close it if you would like less distractions. Up to you. We will have an entertaining talk back with our comedic queens, and we'll try to answer after the show, and we'll try to answer as many questions as possible. So please post questions in the Q&A section. This program consists of 4 comedy sets and will run about an hour in length. This program will be recorded and will be available on the Greenwich Library YouTube channel for a limited time. Please visit the Greenwich Library calendar for more interesting and unique events at www.greenwichlibrary.org. I'd like to introduce our MC for the evening, our wonderful Jane Condon. She is Jane. 1 minute. I didn't get to your wonderful intro, so stay right there.
I'm leaving.
Only if you come back. Greenwich's own grand dame of comedy, the mother of 2 boys. Jane Condon is a local Greenwich treasure. She's also the MC for tonight's show. Jane has appeared on ABC TV's The View, Lifetime TV's Girls Night Out, Fox TV's series finale of the show 24, Nickelodeon's Mom's Night Out, as well as NBC's Last Comic Standing, and also the Today Show. She's the 2019 winner of the She-Devil Comedy Festival. She's the pro winner of the nationwide Ladies of Laughter contest. She was voted audience favorite of New York on NBC's Last Comedy Standing, and she's also given the commencement speech at Wellesley College, her own alma mater, the University of New Haven, and also Wilson College. We are so honored to have you on our virtual stage. Welcome, Jane.
Woo! We'll have to pretend to hear all the applause now. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dora. It's really great to be here with my 3 funny girlfriends and all of you. I'm Jane. I live in Greenwich, lovely town. Lucky to be here. My husband got us in. When we first got here, I thought everybody was going to be a snob, but the people at the supermarket have been extremely nice to me. Like if I forget to wear my pearls, they lend me some. Never in a million years, I think I'd end up in this place. I'm originally from a real blue-collar town in Massachusetts called Brockton. This is a tough town and people get shot in Brockton. It's our way of saying hello. My Irish grandfather came over to the States to work in a shoe factory, and my Irish grandmother came over just to annoy him. She had a crocheted pillow that said, "Don't make me hurt ya." My dad was an FBI agent. I'd go in to work with him occasionally, and I would memorize the 10 most wanted. And I'd go back out to Brockton and spot 6 or 7 of them. We had a Holiday Inn with a big sign, "Have your next affair here." And that's how I used to talk. Affair here, I don't care, not my sweater. Don't be a douchebag. My mom was a 1st grade teacher, best 1st grade teacher ever. Oh yeah, and after all this homeschooling, how many people think the teachers should be paid more? Yeah, I've been married a long time. I want to say this about same-sex marriage, honestly. What's the problem? My husband and I have had the same sex for 42 years. I have 2 boys. Otherwise, everything is fine. When they were little, I sent them to summer camp. I never went to camp. When I was a kid, my parents said, here's a bike, good luck, see you in September. When I was born, my father wanted a boy, my mother wanted a young lady, and my 2 sisters didn't want me. They gave me a t-shirt that said organ donor on it. I come from a big dog family. We love dogs. We've always had a dog. And then it turned out that my first son was allergic to dogs. So we had to give away, my son. I love my son's first high school girlfriend. What a doll. She comes over, she fills the house with estrogen. All of a sudden, everybody's nice to me and they say, please and thank you. And everybody wears underpants. And then one day she dumped my son. So I called her up and I'm there, look, can we still see each other? Please. My older boy graduated from college where he majored in religion. Yeah, religion. Shoot me now. So the job offers are just pouring in. After college, he moved back in because I guess once you feed them, they keep coming back. Very interested in money now that he doesn't have any. He said, Mom, how much do you make? How much does Dad make? What's the house worth? And I'm thinking, is he planning to kill us? See, I always thought I'd have girls. They were supposed to be Kate and Elizabeth, and then God gives me these people. And there's so much I don't understand about boys. Like, why would anyone want to blow their nose into a boarding pass? Why? But I am glad we had kids because, you need someone to fix your computers. And the kids have all these dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, OkCupid. I would like someone to come up with some dating apps for older people, like I can drive at night, or I bought my burial plot. There's room for you. Too much going on in this world. Isn't there just too much? We've got the vaccines, the pandemic, and my mother-in-law. Before the pandemic, my in-laws had their 60th wedding anniversary. So we gave them a weekend away and they had a great time. She went to Florida and he went to California. You know what's big now with older people? Medical marijuana. Yeah. They say it's great for arthritis, great for glaucoma, and your grandkids will want to spend more time with you. Here's what I want you to know about me. The first third of my life was all about my crazy family. We had some drinking problems. I mean, nobody was an alcoholic. We just had drinking problems. And I say that because I've been the designated driver since I was 11. The second third of my life is all about my semi-normal family, my husband and the boys. And the last third, it's all about me. It's my turn. And that is why I'm here tonight. This is where I want to be. Also, I owe the Greenwich Library, all the power outages that we have. I go down to the library and I charge up my phone and I charge up my computer. And when the kids were little, I would take them to the children's room to get videos. And I'm not proud of this, but one time my son said, Mom, look, this place has books too. Yeah, okay. So a lot of people say to me, Jane, how does your husband feel about the comedy? Well, how would you feel if your wife were up here talking about you and your family? I feel a little sorry for him. It was kind of a bait and switch. I was this shy, geeky girl, and then one day I just came out of the comedy closet. I don't know what happened. I do know he was out of town and I was unsupervised. Yeah. Oh dear, and I still remember my first show here. It was at my son's nursery school fundraiser. I hopped up on a Fisher-Price picnic table and I started telling jokes. I didn't really have any jokes, so I borrowed one from the Junior League. And what's great is we're in Greenwich. I don't have to explain what the Junior League is, but outside Greenwich, I say active group of women volunteers. And they have the most wonderful joke. They say, why do members of the Junior League not have group sex? Too many thank you notes. Yes. My second show was at an Episcopalian church on the Post Road, across from the YW, next to Temple Shalom. Okay. Very patrician man came up at the end and said, you are so funny. I almost laughed out loud. Mm-hmm. And before the pandemic, I did a show down in Palm Beach. Really nice to be warm in the winter. And they're older, I'm older, we connected. And And they said, we'd love to have you back next year. And I said, well, I think you want me back in 2 years so they won't remember my act. And she said, oh, trust me, they won't remember your act. My own husband is very cute. I married up in looks. His initials are KGB, so it doesn't monogram a lot. Sometimes he gets things out of proportion. Do you know people like this? He'll be there, Jane, you left the light on in the kitchen, which to me sounds like, Jane, there's a body in the kitchen. There's a new survey out. It says the average married couple talks for 4 minutes a day. And I'm thinking, is it really that long? You got to wonder why people get married. I think a man looks at a woman and thinks she loves me, she adores me, she's just like my mom. Whereas a woman looks at a man and thinks, I can work with this. You ever ask your spouse a no-win question? I say to my husband, honey, are you physically attracted to other women? This is a no-win question. It's like saying, am I getting fat? If he says yes, he's in trouble. And if he says no, you know he's lying. Nevertheless, I say, honey, are you physically attracted to other women? Well, he looks me straight in the eye. He says, oh, no, dear. I am blinded by your beauty. That is the correct answer. Yeah. I always like to ask people how long they've been married. There was a British couple once, and the guy said, we've been married for 18 years. With the wind chill, it feels like 22. I did a show in Atlantic City. This lady had been married for 41 years. I said, how did you do it? She looked up from the audience and said, well, I wouldn't recommend it. I did a show at Canyon Ranch, lovely health spa, Western Mass. This couple had been married for 67 years and you two are amazing. Can you stand up? Tell us all your names. And the old lady couldn't get up and the husband couldn't remember his name. It was awful. That was a bad one. So we all know when your friends get married, you get them a wedding present. When they have kids, you get them a baby present. But when they get divorced, there's no present. That's when you really need one, right? Like a voodoo doll, dishes to throw, or a GoFundMe for a great lawyer. Now, this friend of mine, her husband ran off with the soul cycle instructor. I kept calling her the spin cycle instructor until my son said, Mom, spin cycle is something on the washing machine. Okay. So anyway, my friend, of course, she's devastated. Months later, I say, you okay? She says, barely. I say, did you get a settlement? She said, yeah. And they're like, you listen to me. The new wife, she's going to have to pick up his socks. She is going to have to write the alimony checks to you. And someday she is going to have to change his diapers. So you won. You won. Take the money and run. And there is a PS to this story. There is a happy ending because the first wife, years later, ran off with the husband's best friend, proving there is a God. And she is very just. Yeah. So I think we all know that half of all marriages end in divorce. So that's why I think everyone deserves a starter marriage. You know, your first marriage, maybe you were young or there was a shotgun situation. Okay. Your second marriage could have been a mistake. Third marriage, I think people try really hard to get this one right, right? But the fourth marriage might be you. Yeah. So last thing I want to share with you is the bad news about my husband is that he snores. Oh, how he snores. I have been awake since 1978. It's so bad, I've categorized them. Basically, there are three. The first one is the cave, the The second one is the stalled engine, the I mean, honey, don't die, who'll do the taxes. And the last one is the after sex snore, the it doesn't happen that often, the after sex snore. Well, thank you all very much. Thank you. Now I have the pleasure of introducing my friend, a wonderful comedian. She has her own monthly show called Ferris and Friends at the Comedy Studio. She has been a finalist in the Boston Comedy Festival. We worked together many times at the Women in Comedy Festival and lots of other shows. I love and adore her. I know you will too. Please give it up for my good friend, Kathy Ferris.
Thank you, Jane. It's so great to be here. Well, I will say I'm excited to be here, but I'm also pretty triggered. To be honest, I've been having a reoccurring nightmare And the nightmare is that I have been banned from the public library. I don't know where this really came from, but I'm pretty sure it's because I have been banned from the public library and the Pizza Hut. It's a long story. I'm not going to get into it. Well, it's not that long, but it's also not that flattering. So let me just get on with the nightmare. So here's the nightmare. And not only am I banned from the public library, I can't even go into the public library. So now I have to hang outside the public library and ask strangers if they'll score me bestsellers. Hey, dude, help a mother out? Listen, I'm over my library limit. I'm tapped out, man. And I really need that new James Patterson. Listen, I'm jonesing for a hardcover here, and I'll make it worth your while. I've got cash. Well, Kohl's cash. It's like Monopoly money for Kohl's. It's kind of inconvenient and has very specific terms and conditions. But if you're in the market for a coffee maker, or maybe some Jennifer Lopez apparel, you're gonna score big. So think about it, okay? Listen, I'll be in the minivan over there, the one with the stick figure family on the back. As you can see, I've got 2 girls. Well, I've got more than that, but these stickers aren't cheap, so I just feature a couple of them. This month, we're highlighting the one with the nut allergy. That's not a lacrosse stick, it's an EpiPen. And that's the nightmare I've been enduring since I've booked this show. But I'm here and I'm excited about this. And I do have a couple of girls, but my mom had 6 girls. 6. Anytime I would tell people that I have 5 sisters, most responded the same way. 6 girls, no boys, huh? Like I counted wrong or forgot about Kevin. Yeah, 6 girls. My mom trying for a boy. My dad trying to fully staff a dress barn. 6 girls. I get it, 6 girls is weird. In public, we just look like a protest that couldn't get our act together. Like a poorly organized women's march with all this infighting and harassing people. I just want to say it was a misunderstanding. We were not harassing people. What we were doing, we're offering them gum. And our gum of choice, Chiclets, which is commonly mistaken for discarded teeth. And because there were so many of us, my mother would buy Chiclets in bulk and put them in Ziploc bags. But once you handle that, it gets all that white coating. So people mistook us for a cult recruiting team using homemade cocaine chutney as bait. Big misunderstanding. In my house, it was a lot of tough love. When you have that many kids, you've got to do tough love. When I was 11 years old, I was kicked out of the Girl Scouts of America because my troop leader hated me. My mom would say, Kathleen, Mrs. Sullivan didn't hate you. Mrs. Sullivan was going through an ugly divorce, and you reminded her of Mr. Sullivan. It's fine. That doesn't bother. I wanted to quit anyway, but my mom would never allow me to quit. And I raised my girls that way. We don't quit. We just leave early and then never show up again. They say that parenting is the toughest job you'd ever love. Nope. Toughest job I'd ever love? Combative judge on MasterChef Junior. It combines 2 of my passions, criticizing other people's cooking while crushing a 6th grader's dream. Now, that's not to say I don't love being a mom. I love being a mom. I think the best part about being a mom, throwing away the art. You don't see that on a mug. But as a stay-at-home mom, there's a lot of judgment as a stay-at-home mom when your kids are now old enough to rent cars. It's like this pressure to get a job. Sometimes I will give the impression that I have a job by wearing a lanyard and a bracelet that has 27 keys on it. Yeah, it works. You want to get somebody off your back about getting a job? Go to Home Depot with 1 key and ask for 26 copies of it. It works. My cat's therapist, Dr. Sherman, says that this is kind of like living a lie. I completely disagree. I think it's a mindset. And if you don't mind lying, then you are all set. I'm not even going to look at the comment. Yeah, yes, my cat has a therapist. Snowball's the only one who's going to do the work, and it's the only way we get Prozac. All right. That's not to say that I don't think therapy works. It just didn't work for me. I mean, after 7 years, I got more out of just a couple of sessions of laser tag. Ever play laser tag? I have never felt that free. I mean, sure, I ruined a 9-year-old's birthday party. But I also worked through some pretty big intimacy issues. And I made the leaderboard 3 times. Yeah. That's what's called self-care. Well, that's what I call self-care. You know, I do believe in self-care, but not this stuff like vision boards and Zumba. Not that I don't have a vision board. I have a vision board, but the only thing on it is an ad for fiber drinks. I'm not trying to manifest more fiber. I just like the fiber lady's outfit. It's very flattering. And I've also tried Zumba, but was asked to leave because I refused to use my arms. You're either getting my arms or my legs, but you're not getting both, Paula. Which stinks because I love to dance. I dance all the time in my car. I'm a car dancer, which is way more challenging than Zumba when all you listen to is true crime podcasts and NPR. Yeah. You know, they don't play music. It's just fundraising and stories about Syria. Try merging on the highway and finding the beat to Terry Gross. That's not easy. But my version of self-care is that you wake up late, then you take in a couple of games of laser tag, and then you go for a walk around a CVS wearing your bracelet of keys, just misinforming people about skincare products. You know, I've heard that, you know, there's a lot of Zen with meditation. Please, have you ever experienced the high of talking a 37-year-old man into neck cream? Pfft, try it. It's exhilarating. So then I'll go home and I'll sit in my garden. Well, it's my neighbor's garden, but there's no fence, so people on Facebook don't know the difference. Sit in my garden and do historical reenactments. And by historical reenactments, I'm not talking about the Civil War or the Monica Lewinsky scandal anymore. What I'm talking about when I say historical reenactments, I'm talking about the time that Sarah from Verizon made me cry. I call it the time that Sarah from Verizon made me cry. See, I even tripped over it. I'm still that upset about it. It's been 4 years. Then by that time, I'm exhausted. So I go home, I sit on the couch, and I watch inspirational television. You know, things like TV Church or Hoarders. I mean, how great is it to have a documentary about people who keep everything except a trash bag and a mop? Talk about a mood lifter. Doesn't matter how bad I feel about myself, I'll watch that show, and by the second commercial break, I'm thinking, you're okay, Kath. You may not mop either, but you Swiffer. And I do Swiffer. I love the Swiffer. It's just this overpriced stick with a bunch of wet naps that come in a variety of fake smells, like mountain mist. Mountain mist. Who's verifying that? I mean, who's climbing that mountain when it's about to rain? Not people who Swiffer. But here's what I'll tell you. I'll end it with this. I do believe in self-care. I'm so glad we're all here tonight laughing. And remember to just breathe. Let's all breathe. Just inhale love and light. Exhale the outrage that not all Trader Joe's sell wine. Thank you so much for having us here. I cannot wait for you to meet my next funny friend. Not only was she in Comics Come Home and America's Got Talent, she is a favorite of ours. She's going to be a favorite of yours. Please welcome my friend Christine Hurley.
Hello. Oh, Kathy Ferris, you are the best. Kathy Ferris, Jane Condon, my little friends, you guys are the best. Thank you, Greenwich Library. Thank you so much for having us tonight. It's so nice to be talking to grown-ups. My name is Christine Hurley, folks. I'm from Plymouth, Massachusetts. I'm the mother of 5 children. 5, I know. I wish you could see me. I'm very petite, very slight. I want to tell you this magic doesn't just happen after 5 kids, my friends. Oh no, this is Slim Fast mixed with vodka. Every day, all day, folks. All right, first of all, it doesn't curdle. Who knew? Second of all those condescending ladies at my kid's bus stop every morning can't even smell it on your breath. Don't drink too much in the morning, folks. When you're trying to send 5 kids to school, things go bad pretty quickly. Case in point, a couple of weeks ago, my middle daughter, Ryan, woke up. I don't feel good, Mommy. I can't go to school. I need to stay home. I don't feel good. I said, Ryan, go back to bed. I'll call the school nurse. I'll let her know you're not coming in. Now, Ryan, she's like, oh, shoot. Dang it. I'd say 12. Let's say 12. We'll say 12. So I call the school nurse and I leave a message on the machine. Hello, this is Mrs. Hurley. Ryan doesn't feel well. She won't be in today. Thank you very much. 10 minutes later, the phone rings. Hello? Hello, Mrs. Hurley? Yeah, this is Mrs. Hurley. Mrs. Hurley, it's Nurse Kane from the West Elementary School. I said, what can I do for you, Nurse Kane? She said, I'm sorry, Ryan doesn't feel well, but she doesn't go here. I said, really? Do you have any idea where she goes? Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the same long-suffering nurse who had to call me a few years earlier for a similar situation. At the time, my youngest son, Brendan, had just turned 5 years old, and he was very excited because he was a big boy, and he went to kindergarten. He was starting kindergarten. 5 years old, big boy, starting kindergarten. We all know when the baby of the house does anything monumental, you got to pretend you're happy for him all day, all day. Mommy, mama, mommy, mama. Look at me, mama. 5 years old, Brendan Hurley, big boy, big boy, big boy, going to school today, going to go to school because I'm a 5-year-old big boy and I get on the bus with the big kids and I can do it myself. I can do everything myself now, mama, because I'm 5 now. I'm a big boy, can do it myself. Gonna make my own lunch, mama. Gonna make my own lunch for school today. Gonna do it. Gonna make my own lunch for school today. Today is the day, mama. I am gonna make my own lunch for school because I'm 5 and I'm a big boy and I can do it. I said, aren't you the little nag? I said, you want to make your own lunch, hotshot? Knock yourself out. And I fired up a parliament and I went back to bed. 3 hours later, the phone rings. Hello? Hello, Mrs. Hurley? Yeah, this is Mrs. Hurley. Mrs. Hurley, it's Nurse Kane from the West School. I'm like, oh, good. What can I do for you, Nurse Kane? You have to come to the school, Mrs. Hurley. You have to pick up Brendan and his lunchbox immediately. I said, why? She said, unfortunately, Brendan packed a leftover box of Kung Pao chicken and 2 wine coolers. Oh, just celebrated my 33rd wedding anniversary, folks. 33 years married. Thank you. I'm no quitter. Thank you. Thank you. 33 years married to my high school sweetheart, Jimmy Hurley. You applaud because you don't know him. Let me give you guys a day in the life of that fairy tale. Ooh. Jimmy Hurley is a firefighter. He's a firefighter. He doesn't like me to tell people where he works. I've had a couple of cocktails. I'll give you the initials. Randolph, Massachusetts. Now, folks, I also think you should know that Jimmy Hurley is weighing in at a very sexy, very svelte 275 pounds. Yummy. I know, ladies, break me off a piece of that. Oh. 275 pounds, my friends, and he's the tiny guy on the Randolph, Massachusetts Fire Department. So my friends from Greenwich, if you ever find yourselves in the town of Randolph, Massachusetts, and God forbid, you are stuck in a burning building and you find yourself trapped on the 2nd floor. Well, you better be hanging out that window with a big bucket of chicken. Because none of those fatties are coming up a ladder to get you. So now, when Jimmy and I first started having the kids, we have a girl another girl, another girl, 3 girls in a row, bing, bang, boom. Jimmy Hurley goes into a full-fledged panic because he's the only son in the Hurley family, all right? It's him and his 4 absolutely intoxicatingly miserable sisters. Miserable. Oh, let me tell you. So like he said, he's nervous. He wants if we don't have a son, you know, the Hurley name will end. There'll be no heir to the Hurley fortune, right, folks? You know? So I figure, you know what, I'll take one for the team. I'll try another one. I'll see what we get, right? Roulette. I'll see what we get. A couple of weeks into this awesome adventure, Jimmy Hurley comes home from work, says, Christine and me and the guys at work were discussing it. Not going to happen. You and I are never going to have a son. I said, really, Jimmy Hurley? And what were you and the other Mensa candidates at work discussing? He said, Christine, my little swimmers are so powerful. All that's going to happen here is I will continually blow the balls off of all of your eggs. So we have a son. His name is Joe Hurley. He's like 16 or 19. He's delightful. Now, after we had Joe, Jimmy Hurley went and did the right thing, got himself fixed, ladies and gentlemen, got himself fixed. But gentlemen in the audience, I do beg you, if you are going to go get yourself neutered, as they say, please do not do it at the CVS Minute Clinic. Because 1 year later, indeed, I found I was pregnant with my 5th child post-vasectomy. Don't they call me in Plymouth Lucky Christine? I remember the night I found out. I was tossing, turning, couldn't sleep. Midnight, I jump out of my bed. I get in my car. I drive to the 24-hour Walgreens, okay? I buy the pregnancy test. I throw it in the front seat of the car. I am not even out of the parking lot, and the plus sign is flashing through the bag. I get home, I'm crying, I'm pacing. Oh God, no, not again. I can't do this again. I'm so tired. I have 4 babies. Why do I have to do this again, God? Why? And then I think, why am I suffering by myself? Right, folks? Right? I am waking Jimmy Hurley's fat behind up, and he will suffer with me. So I went across the hall to his room. Now you gotta be careful. You don't want to startle him too much in the middle of the night, because sometimes he tips right out of his recliner. But he must have known something was up, because he actually pulled his hand out of the front of his sweatpants to talk to me. So I held up the white stick. I said, Jimmy, we are in big trouble. He said, who has a fever? Now I'm home. Stuck at home. 5 kids, 4 in diapers. We share one automobile, Jimmy Hurley and I, okay? 5 kids, 4 in diapers. Every day of my life is Groundhog Day, right? Just a little worse than the day before. You guys know how it is. You go downstairs, there they are, the 5 little beggars sitting around the kitchen table. Immediately, no hello, no good morning, mommy, no niceties. Oh no. I want waffles. Waffles. I'm waiting on waffles, mama. I don't want waffles, I want toast. I don't want toast, mommy, I want French toast. I don't want French toast, I want cereal. I don't want cereal, I want Pop-Tarts. I'm not eating those Pop-Tarts, those are generic. She looked at me. I'm not sitting in that seat. I'm not wearing that shirt. Those pants are ugly. I wanted that bowl. He got the lucky sippy cup. He touched me. Somebody come in here and wipe my bum bum. And that was Jimmy Hurley. Folks, you have been delightful. I love you all very, very much. Thank you so much for having us tonight. And I did want to say something in, we appreciate you, Greenwich Library, so much. And I also wanted to let you know it is Women's Month, and how much I appreciate my 3 ladies that I get to work with all the time. Comedy is a crazy business, especially Boston and New York comedy, crazy business. But somehow we come together, us women, and we've always supportive of each other from the all that we've known each other. Jane Condon, Kathy Farris, myself, and I am about to bring up one of my dearest, sweetest, probably my best friend in the world, Miss Kelly Mcfarland, you have seen her on Comedy Central. You have heard her on Sirius XM. She is the love of my life. She is my mentor. She is brilliant. Please, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Kelly Mcfarland.
Thank you, Christine Hurley. I feel all those things about you and Jimmy Hurley. Christine Hurley with her own laughter in the background. That is the famous Jimmy Hurley. He's as delicious as you think he is. This is so much fun. Thank you for having us today. I want to make sure that we say thank you to Greenwich Library for hosting such a wonderful night. And on with the me. Let's see. One thing I can tell you is that we've heard a lot about marriage tonight and all these wonderful marriage anniversaries and years married. I've been married. I just celebrated a 5-year wedding anniversary. So I've been married for 5 years. That happened during COVID. And I was married later in life, first time married. I've only been married the one time. I will not do it again. Married for the first time, my husband, he has been married before. And that did not go well. And now we're married. So just more evidence that someone else's trash is another person's treasure. Reduce, reuse, recycle, I say. I'm all about it. My husband is like a pair of Goodwill jeans, right? Like thrift stop find. I love the idea that I found him stuffed in the back of a crock pot in the back of a store, and I just pulled him out and I gave him a shake, and there were some suspicious stains and a weird smell, but a little Febreze. He is my favorite pair. He's super cozy. He's a good guy. I like him a lot. Here's something that's interesting. When you're dating in your 40s, it's different than dating in your 20s or even your 30s, right? I have a niece, she's 22, and she'll talk about her partner, her boyfriend, and it's always so mystical, right? Like so magical. Oh yes, we met, and if we were two souls floating around the universe, we would have met each other, right? I don't understand any of that. When you're in your 40s and you're on a date with someone, it's a little bit more. So do you have dental? Do you have dental insurance? I heard that people north of 50 sometimes need crowns. Are crowns covered on your insurance? Do you have the plan with you? Can I look at it over some bread sticks? He's a wonderful guy. Here's what I've noticed though, being home with him, is that he makes a lot of body noises that I did not know about. Like, I can hear him breathing all the time, like all the time. It's like I live with a seashell. He is constantly making noises, like always winded. And he brings a humidity to my life that I didn't know another person could offer. Like, he runs hot. You know what I mean? Like super hot and humid. It's not a dry heat. It is a very humid heat. He's always I think there's always that in a partnership, right? Someone runs hot. For me, it's him. He's the hot and steamy that makes me want to open a window. Yeah, want to open a window. I don't recall him breathing during our courtship. Like, I don't remember that. It's like we got married, and as soon as they said, "By the power vested in me," he just went, "Wah!" and let out a huge lion's breath, like we're at some sort of yoga retreat at Crapello. He's never stopped. Like, he busted in the other day, winded, and a girlfriend would say, "Oh, are you okay?" A wife says, "Gross. What is wrong with you?" He busted in, and I was like, "Why are you winded? Like, why? How could you possibly be winded?" And he was like, "I was playing Yahtzee on my phone." And I was like, "Oh, well, we need to walk more." He's the type of person too that you can really like hunker down with. I will say that. One thing I'll say though is that I can't stand the snacking. Like, we've been home, obviously, like everyone else. It's constant snacking, like constant snacking, and he's enjoying it. That's the other thing. You can tell when someone's really enjoying a snack, you know? Like the other day he was cutting up a cantaloupe in the kitchen in his very blousy boxer shorts, like you do in 2021. And he was cutting them in these tiny pieces and tossing them into his mouth, tossing the cantaloupe and catching it. And honestly, it wasn't the cantaloupe that was bothering me. And it wasn't even the tossing, it was the arrogance of the catch. Like, I've never wanted to throat punch him harder than when he would catch these bites. He was tossing and catching like we're in the circus. I've never seen him have a talent like this, and he does. So here we are. And then he was chewing them aggressively, like I could hear it. It's melon. Okay, it's almost done when you put it in your mouth. Like, it's a 2-chomp food, tops, and then send it to its death. You don't need to chew the crap out of it. You don't need to. Have you ever seen him eat a Cheez-It? Probably not, because we haven't left the house in a year, and I wouldn't let him eat those in public. He bites off every corner, turns it. 4 corners is too many. Like, make those a circle, okay? Because the corners, that's what's throwing me over the edge. And then toss, catch. It's too much. It's too much to handle. Now, this is usually the moment where people say, what is it that you love about him? Do you love him? I do. I love him very much. He's a very kind person. For us, we really bonded and found our stride and love for one another through our love of doing nothing. We love to do nothing. We love kicking back. And by kicking back, I mean not leaving the house ever. And this has always been our thing. Like, you're never going to overhear us at a party say something like, yeah, we're training for our third 10K. Like, we're not those people. We don't want to register. We don't want to sign up. We don't want to meet you there. I don't want to bring a dish. Okay. I don't want to do any of that stuff. Like, I'm content with him to just hang out. Like, we love it. We love it. And it's not that we don't care. Like, we care about hunger and the need for food, right? But we're not going to walk for it. We're not going to walk for hunger. We'll write a check and drop it off on our way to get Thai food. Like, we just think there are other things we could do to support in sweatpants. We just bought power recliners. Okay, that should tell you everything you need to know about us. Like, that's a very specific group of people. All right, that means we walked into a furniture store together and we were like, yes, Todd, you can help us. Okay, focus up. We want a seating arrangement where we are laying down with just our head up so that we can live like otters while we watch television. Do you have that, Todd? Do you have that? Oh, and Todd, we don't want to do a bicep curl to get there. This is too much exercise and movement, Todd. We need a button. Wah, wah, wah. We love our power recliners. We love them. We have a couch with 2. We have a love seat with 2. And if you're asking yourself, oh my gosh, Kelly, what if a friend, a solo, a divorcee comes over and they want to watch This Is Us? Where will they sit? Don't worry. We have a solo in the corner, just one fat bastard chair, just right in the corner alone. So you can have your own comfy space, right? Just hit that button and recline back into your adult car seat and enjoy. No one's springing into action from a power recliner though. Like, literally, you can't do it, right? It's the laziest piece of furniture on the planet. Only second to the chaise lounge, which has lounge in the title. Now, when you're in the power recliner, we can't even get up at the same time. My husband and I can't hit our buttons at the same time. let's say we're watching a Netflix show and we're like, I need a beverage, I need a popcorner. We can't both hit the buttons. It doesn't have the power. It won't let us both up. It just goes, like it can't do it. I mean, to be fair, we got them at Bob's Discount Furniture and it's all in the title, discount. Also, what do you expect when you buy furniture from a puppet? You know what I mean? So, I will say this. I fell down the stairs. We had those power recliners for about a week, and I tumbled down the stairs like you do in New England. You know, it's kind of like a thing. I feel like they don't do that anywhere else in the country. It's just New England. For some reason in the Northeast, we like lead with our heads and we tumble down the stairs. I feel like it's constant. You at least will have one tumble per season, right? Per season. So I was coming down the stairs and I totally like skipped one or like led with my boobs. I don't know. I do have tiny feet. It's definitely a design flaw. Size 4 children feet, double D boobs. I don't know. It's whoever built me. They were like, watch this. So I was coming down the stairs and I wiped out. And of course, I yelled for my husband because it was his fault, even though he wasn't anywhere near me. And I said, help, help, I fell down the stairs. Help me. Help, I'm injured. And he said, and I heard him from upstairs, I'll be right there. Oh, it's stuck on the blanket. Oh, and cheese it. Jesus. You are all so lovely and wonderful, and this has been an amazingly fun time. I can only guess that you're all having a good time. Here's the thing. When you're on Zoom for comedy, you don't really know how you're doing. And I feel like we as comedians have let you in on like a well-kept secret. Don't tell anyone else. Let them find out on their own. But we're very attention starved. We're all those kids, you know, the ones. Tap shoes at the dining room table. Don't make me time step. I'm not wearing the right bra. Thank you very much. And back to your host, Jane Condon.
Oh my God, Kelly, you are so wonderful. The toss and catch, everything. Yeah, give it up, Greenwich. Give it up for my girlfriends. They're so wonderful. Okay, let's see your videos. Let's unmute yourselves. And come back, Christine. Come back, Kelly. Way to go, Kelly. Way to go, Kathy. Christine. Woo! Christine, tell Jimmy to let you turn on the camera.
It says I cannot. Oh, here we go. All right, here we go now.
There we
There
go.
she is.
Yay.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Well, ladies,
Welcome.
I know that this is a challenge speaking into the Zoomosphere, but I can assure you that everyone was laughing, myself included. This
Oh,
was
good.
so amazing. I want to remind our attendees, any questions you have for female comics, you have 4 amazing, hilarious comics right here. Post them in the chat, put them in the QA.
Oops.
And you can get them answered right here. I have a few questions to get us started off. We have a few more minutes.
Okay.
The comments are coming in fast and furiously, and you're getting rave reviews.
Oh, yay.
So I hope you can see that, even though you don't have your glasses on. That's okay. Can you talk a little bit about who your comic heroes were growing up? I know mine were, but
I'll jump in. I love Jonathan Winters and of course Robin Williams, but somehow Lily Tomlin is still my North Star. She's just so authentic. She's just so real. She more tells stories, but yeah, she's my favorite. So ladies.
I'll jump in. I love Carol Burnett, Lucille Ball, of course. I'm a huge Bob Newhart fan. I actually was just listening to him the other day. I just love everything about how lovable he is, and just his stories are so from his point of view that I really, really enjoy that. And then some current influences, I guess, would be I'm a lot of us all do acting, so it's it's kind of like, I love those new, there's such a great crop of comedic women out there and writers, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Melissa
Yeah.
McCarthy. They're just making it and doing it their own way. And I think that's so cool.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I agree. Bob Newhart, I would totally say too.
Love
And
Bob
this is
Newhart.
Women's Month as well. A big person who brought me in is Elaine Boozler. You don't hear a lot about Elaine Boozler.
Yeah.
My favorite joke of Elaine Boozler's is feminine protection. What is that, a pink gun? And like, to me, that is perfection. You know, that's perfection. In terms
Oh my gosh.
of, I was hooked when I met her, when I was introduced to her.
We actually have a question from the chat. If I could just scroll up a little bit here. Oh gosh, that's a problem with chat. It's hard to scroll up. What advice do you have for any would-be comics who want to get into the trade?
Just do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Right.
Get on stage. I used to sneak out on Wednesday nights to the Treehouse in Westport.
Yeah.
And you started late too. We started later in life too.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and Phyllis Diller started late.
Right.
She was
True, that is
36
true.
with 5 kids or something.
Mhm.
We just
Jane, how old were you when you started?
36 or 37.
Ooh,
Yeah,
you were a baby.
I'd had a life. Yeah.
You were a baby. Yep. I
What
was
were you,
42.
You were
Oh, you
42.
were 42.
Yeah.
And
42.
Kathy, how old were you? You came to it late too.
I was 44.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow,
But
so this
Kelly's
was
been
a-
entertaining since she was 5.
Kelly's been in
Thank
this a
you.
long time. Kelly, how old were you? 19?
26.
Wow.
26.
I have a
Yeah.
feeling you were all
No.
entertaining pretty
Kelly
early on.
used to entertain people in plays on her front lawn.
Yes, of course.
Kelly is what we call a multi-threat.
I have
That's
a late show
adorable.
tonight on my front lawn if anybody
Yes, she
wants to come.
Kelly
I wish
is
we
like
could
our
get
own
there.
little Mickey Rooney.
Yeah. Ooh, how curious.
I want to introduce my friend, the audience, Carla Sherman. She's our technical librarian. She's been
Hey,
helping us on the back
Carla.
end.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks
With a little
Fantastic
help from my
tonight.
friends is one of my favorite songs, and it holds true at Greenwich Library. Anita B has a question in the chat. So much fun. It's hard to be giving comedy shows on Zoom with no visual or audio and the laughter that fuels you. How have you had to adjust to this new normal for the year? You guys are COVID comics now. How has it
Yeah,
been?
we are.
Right. Right.
I think go ahead, guys.
You block it out. You
Yeah.
block. You just have to do your thing. I mean, when we first started doing this a year ago, I said no, never again, and I thought I'd retire. But you just have to. You have to block it out. It's the way it is. This is today, and now I thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah. It was pivot or die. You know, either we adjust to the smaller format.
Right.
I tried to think of
Right.
in an upbeat way is
Right.
okay, it's like I'm on television. And then
Yeah.
but we
Right,
do miss
right.
the laughs. Laughter is our oxygen and part of our pay.
I remember when we started doing 4 o'clock funnies and Jane had recruited us, and her whole thing was like adapt, adapt, adapt. You know, at that time we had no idea. We thought maybe this would be 2 weeks or something. We were doing it every day, like adapt, adapt, adapt. And what's great is that I teach this, and I have people who started in the pandemic, have never been on a stage yet and have been doing comedy for a year.
That's
It's
amazing.
crazy. Yeah.
By the way, if anyone wants to learn comedy, Kathy Ferris has probably taught more people than anybody I know. Over 1,000 lucky people, mostly in the Boston area, but like with video, she can travel to Connecticut.
That's amazing. You don't think that, comedy is a teachable skill, but as you can see, it's something that you really have to hone and
It
hone
helps
and
to
hone.
start with a little.
Yeah, sure. No, you need to have some instruction.
But Kathy is good at breaking it down. She's a
Oh, that's
craftsman
wonderful.
herself, and she passes
Yep.
that along to the.
And God
That's
love
it.
her. She's like Bernadette at Lourdes. You know, she's willing to help these new people. If people ask me for advice,
I think
I'm
I
like,
can
yeah,
see the
no,
halo on her.
she
Now
does
that you
see a
mention
halo
it.
on her. I gotta tell you, I'm not giving anyone advice, because if they're in, I'm out. I'm not doing it.
Well,
Never met. This is why I'm still in this. Are you kidding me? They're so sweet. Yeah.
Hey, Dora, you've got some questions in the Q&A.
right.
And
Yeah.
I also
Yeah, let's
noticed in
get
the
to
chat,
those.
a lot
Yeah,
of
I'm
questions. How do your husbands feel about you using them in your comedy?
That's funny. That was one of my questions for you.
Should I start?
Yes.
Yeah, you were
think you
pretty much
should.
going to cover it, Christine. Go ahead.
So I, as my wonderful ladies know, I never would have been in comedy without Jimmy Hurley. Jimmy Hurley signed me up for a contest in New York 17 years ago.
And I was in the audience.
And you were, Jane. Yes, you were there. And I never would have done this without him. He loves it. He loves it. And now he loves it even more, you know, close to 20 years later, because I am rich. And, yes. And when I go, when I, you know, when I do 10 to 15 comedy shows a week, when I get home, Jimmy Hurley cries on a big bag of money. So yes, it's he finds.
And Jimmy Hurley is in Aruba this week.
Yes, of course. I make a nice life with him. Yes, I make
Well,
a nice
I think
life.
I enjoyed Jimmy's laugh tracks. That really set the tone. That was
Yeah.
Mhm.
He had no
Mary. We have another question. Mary B, you are hilarious and you don't resort to being crude. Intentionally? How do you do that?
Well,
I
you gotta
mean,
read the room. You gotta read the room.
read the Zoom.
You gotta
Read the
read the
Zoom.
Zoom. You gotta read
Yeah.
the room. You have to have, like, you have to have a library, you know, not to be tongue in cheek, but you have
No pun intended.
to have, you have to know your people. You have to know your audience.
My
Well,
first
I'd be
question
curious
was
to see
always-
your after hours show.
Right?
I'd like to see that.
That's
my
on the
first
lawn.
question is always who's the audience, and then, you know, backstage though we let her rip. But I mean, the thing is though, it takes longer to be successful in comedy if you are a clean comic, but you end up having a wider audience. You can do corporates and libraries.
It's interesting. I didn't think of that. Tamara L would like to know, that was great. How much time do you spend developing your shtick?
Every day.
All the time, every day.
Yeah.
We're
Every
obsessed.
day. You know what's interesting about this whole pandemic? You know, we always hear about like laughter is the best medicine. It is. You know what's even better is if you can create that laughter, and when you can think like a stand-up where everything's material. You know, like when I was talking about, not to reference my set, but when I was talking about Sarah from Verizon, that bitch did make me cry because of my upgrade. I mean, come on. Like, what would it cost you? And I just remember that. And then after, when I got out of the closet in the fetal position, I was like, this is going to be a good bit. You know, like this is going to be something. And so you just carry that around and you put it, humor makes you take your control back. When you can start laughing at something that has done something else to you, it's just very healing.
It's cathartic. I think Carol Burnett said, comedy is tragedy plus time. And I think that's very true.
Okay, there's another question in
yeah,
the
let's-
Q&A. Where can you all be seen? Because it looks like there are some people that want to follow you now to your next
thank you.
venues.
Looks like you got some new fans.
Oh, let me put that in the chat.
Well,
I did actually put the studio in the chat. Yeah.
we're part of a long-lasting Facebook Live stream.
Yep.
Who would think
And
we'd end up doing Facebook Live? But I sent out an SOS to 5 friends, and these were the first 3 who responded. And it's been such a wonderful journey. It sort of it's been my lifeline during the pandemic. Anyway, if you go to facebook.com/4o'clockfunnies, the number 4 o'clock, don't worry about the apostrophe, we're very loose. 4 o'clock funnies. Facebook.com/4 o'clock funnies. We don't do our sets, but you get 4 comedians into a room and
We chat.
and it's pretty funny.
Just put it in
know
the
what?
chat if you want to
What-
reference
What
it.
do I always say, Kelly? Our mouths are our offices. They're
That's right.
always open.
Right.
That could be interpreted in a different way.
Kathy, you stop it. This is clean.
Yeah, come
I
on.
think that's for the after hours show, ladies.
I'm just
We have a couple more questions. Our time is coming to an end, but we have a couple more questions I wanted to get to. You probably get asked this a lot. How have you enjoyed the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel? Have you guys watched it, and what are your
Loved.
thoughts? And
I love it.
comedic-
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Love.
It's not
Love.
accurate. Just, I mean,
yeah.
so here's what I'll say about it. I love it. First of all, how beautiful is it? the costuming, the
Love-
way it's
right,
shot,
right.
it's lovely. And, Christine and I have said this when it first came out, we both were like, I want
Yes.
all those dresses. Like, it's just so
Oh.
beautiful.
Well,
Here's what
I
I'll
want the
say.
waistline. I mean,
I know, right? That waistline. Season 1 isn't super accurate. Get into season 2, it becomes a little bit more real.
I love the agent.
Yes.
Susie.
Yeah.
My
right.
favorite.
I'm glad
Oh,
that
I
you
love
said that because I think people think it's a lot easier than it is. Like, oh, I'm
Right.
like I can get up on stage and that kind of portray that. But I do think it's cinematically, I love it and all that. And the second
Beautiful.
second season
Yeah.
down. Yeah.
And you
Beautiful.
don't just walk on the stage and report every day's news. You try to perfect the
Yeah.
stuff
Right.
that you're working on. You can
Right.
repeat stuff. You might try a new bit in between 2 tried and trues.
Mhm.
So in some ways she made it look easier, but
I think so.
it's
I
still
think
a great show.
Yeah.
But it comes from something real, which is true. Like there's
Right.
a nugget of truth in everything that you're doing.
Right.
And she experiences some losses too, which that part felt very real,
Real.
and genuine to me.
Real. Real.
Our mouths, while they put food on the table, they also can get you into trouble. And like we were saying before, you have to read the audience and just know that, this is our living, all of us. So it's, you have to be smart about what you're going to say. And
It's
that
a,
doesn't,
it's a tightrope.
Yep.
It's a
Yeah.
I guess
tightrope.
it's a fine line. It's a
Yeah.
balance between
Yeah.
making them
It's a
laugh
tight-
and offending them, but only offending
Exactly,
them so
Dora.
much.
Right.
And,
To the
and
edge and
add to it that we're women.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just we're going to get criticized, I think, quicker than the men. So
Yeah, this is so unusual to have 4 women on a show. Most shows,
Yeah, I
first
was
of
gonna
all,
say
1,
that.
2, or 3 people.
Oh, yeah.
If
Yeah,
I'm
that
on a
was
show,
actually-
I'm usually like the
Mhm.
sorbet between courses, between number 1 and 3.
Something sweet and light. Actually, that was
cleanser.
one of my personal questions because it's Women's History Month. How is it different being a woman comic rather than a male? And are there challenges unique to, being a woman and in this industry?
you know what, Dora?
Cutthroat as it is.
I will tell you, I don't know if it's because of when we started or whatever, but I feel like it's, there aren't many of us. So it's almost, there aren't many of us women in this man-oriented business. So I feel like it's easier for us to it's easier for us to get more work, like us for it. It's easier. We get more work because there's so few of us, and it's like an enigma. And we're good. We're funny. We're talented, funny women, and it's and it's like an enigma. If you have one of us on your show, it always is successful. I mean, I think
You always
it
say,
always
and
works.
now we're bringing a woman to the stage. I'm like,
Yeah. Oh, I
"Whoa!"
love that. Yeah. Oh, here, this next lady. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it.
This is for all you ladies out
Which is
there.
unusual. Like we never usually do a show together. Other
Yeah.
than like, do you want to ride? Kelly and I sometimes would just ride to a show together, just to
Yeah.
ride to a show together. But what's
Oh,
what's
interesting.
exciting though, I will say, is that especially now, like in my classes, I have like 90% are women,
Oh, wow.
and I'm getting really excited about that because
Yeah.
I want women to be more like comfortable about coming in, because the way I came in and with the women that I met, it has been so kind and so easy for me and such a blessing that I feel like this is the way of giving back. Like I received this, and I wouldn't be here if I hadn't met these women. I don't know if I would have kept doing it. And so I'm just I'm so grateful for that.
There's a
I
great
didn't-
camaraderie among the women in comedy.
Right. Right.
We pretty much know a lot of each other, and it's so much fun working together.
I didn't even work with another woman my first year.
Wow.
Like
Wow.
I'd never even worked with another woman. And it's funny because you get this question so much. This is always the question that people ask, like, what's it like being a woman in comedy?
Yeah.
And is it harder? And I used to always answer no, because I think I was just so conditioned to say no. Like, no, it's great. It's great. It's great.
Right.
And
Everything's great.
it's great. No, I'm not complaining. No, I wake up like this. I always look like this. Like, so I think right? Like I used to do I always had, you have to come, not anymore. I don't, because I feel like I'm done with that. But I saw in the chat, someone said, how is comedy life different than normal life? Is it similar or different? I worked in sales in corporate America for a long time, client management and sales. And I'm seeing so many of the same things now. And I don't know if it's that I'm older and wiser. And I mean that in comedy years, which is like dog years. So like, I just am like, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So it's, I think there are more women than there's ever been before in comedy. And it's becoming not as shocking to see a woman on the show. And my life's goal is, if you could just not say, you're in for a treat, a woman.
Gosh, I hope I didn't say that.
No,
You did not. You did not, Dora.
Christine and I have been lucky enough to do, I mean, I've done a ton of shows with all these women, but Christine and I used to have to say this joke whenever we were on a show together, because the four of us really do love each other. We would always go, oh my God, I can't believe we're on a show together. Well, this is crazy. Should we quilt? Like they're just afraid we're gonna make a casserole. Like they're so like, it's fine, it's fine, we just want to tell our jokes.
That is
also,
interesting perspective. Amazing.
Yeah.
You know, in the end, what I like about being a woman in comedy is people remember you again. Because
Exactly, Jane.
and really, the bottom line, despite, you know, of course there's some sexism out there, of course, but is funny, and we can win when we're funny. And people give us opportunities. You just have to do the work, and you have to get on stage, and it takes either a certain amount of delusion to get on the stage, but
Which is okay.
is whatever it takes. You know, we work very hard actually to make it look very easy. You know, we rehearse.
Agree.
And then you also have to be able to find the funny.
Yeah, Jimmy's chiming in.
They can hear you.
But
Well, you can tell that you really do find it is a craft for you, and you can certainly see that how fine-tuned it is, even though you make it look so effortless and like it's just second nature.
The other side is not so secret. It's the most fun in the world. Am I right?
Oh, it's like wonderfully terrifying.
Amen.
Or terrifyingly wonderful.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Like, yeah, we're
Okay,
terrified,
what's
but
Jimmy saying?
It is. It's the best job in the world.
It is the best job.
What do
I
you
mean, they're like, don't you guys get in your car and you're like, I could just be watching House Hunters right now, but I'm going to go 2 hours to do, you know, right? Like,
But because you crave it. You crave it.
There's no other place I'd rather be than locked away in this small room that was once a closet that I turned into my own fur blanketed space.
Well, you can't tell it was a closet.
For real,
Got a
like I
picture of
can't.
Dolly.
This is my favorite place to be. It's my little like.
Well, now it's
Same.
your stage. Now
That's
it's your
right.
stage.
That's right.
Okay, I'm going to have one more question from our audience, and then we're going to let you guys. We're going to bid adieu. One attendee would like to know, how do you handle bombing?
Oh,
What?
When you bomb on stage, not that ever happens.
First of all,
Bombing.
all the time.
if you don't
And
bomb,
how do you get? What advice would you give to
if you're
someone?
not bombing, you're not doing this right.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay.
You
have-
learn.
This is a real. You have
You
to
learn-
risk industry, and
Yeah.
I want to condense my bombing story, which is I was doing a New Year's Eve, 1,500 people. We're doing the year in review, song parodies, and in between I would do some jokes. I was talking about 2007, I think, cable TV on that. I love the show 24. I love it, and I love Chloe, and she's married to Morris, but I think she should be married to Jack. And then I checked in with the audience, and I realized nothing. It was crickets. It was a total effing bomb, and I'm there like, I'm so dead. And then, you know, you either barrel on through or you acknowledge. I decided to acknowledge, and I said, oh yes, I forget, you people read the Wall Street Journal and Scientific American. You don't watch TV. Okay. So afterwards, I'm like, to me, it just felt like a truck could have gone through that silence. And afterwards, a man came up to me and said, you know, I really like 24. I said, sir, I think it's you, your wife, my son, and me. He said, well, I'm the executive producer and you should be on my show.
Jane!
And that's how I got on 24. You know,
I'm
so
going to know the Real Housewives.
That
So
is
anyway,
amazing. What an amazing story.
but bombing is not necessarily pleasant. But
No, it's not.
You
No.
you have to keep, I think comedians, especially, we've all been doing it a bit now. I prize my little places I can do it where and not be seen, so I can try out new material. And there's nothing better than a new joke.
Right.
So sweet.
Amen.
Normalize failure. Failure is good. That's the way to, like, if you can do stand up, you can go to the DMV. Like, you know what I mean? Like, things just get easier.
And it takes a long time. I mean, it takes a long time. I can remember
long
weekend
time.
after weekend, and
Yeah.
poor
Right.
Jimmy Hurley would shuffle me out to these gigs, and I would bomb and die 1,000 deaths, and then we'd get in the car and I'd look at him and I'd say, if you answer anyone's phone next week for a booking, I will murder you. Murder you. But nope, God love him. He's like, nope, we're gonna do it. We gotta keep going.
Right. And
It's good
surround
to have
yourself with
some-
people that do that. And then these women do that for me,
Yes.
where it's like, oh, well, that's the way it goes. What are you talking about? What's next? Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm not-
Right.
On to the next thing.
So you cried in
was-
your car.
I was so bad the first year. Like, I was so good out the gate, won a contest, and like that will screw you over every time, because I was like, oh, I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
And then the cut to me crying in my car, thinking about changing my name and shaving my head. Like, for the first year, I cried every time I got in the car. I would hold it together at the club, and then, you know, you're at these open mics and it's all men and they all know each other, and like I would get in the car, make it to the car, and cry. And I told myself I wouldn't keep doing it if I didn't get a paid gig at the year mark, and I did. So I was like, okay. And then I just, if something doesn't go my way, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it again. It's like lunch. You get one every day.
I always have a snack cake in my car. And if I fail, I eat the snack cake. If I do well, I eat the snack cake anyway. Like, but honestly, like, I'd walk in the car and be like,
Little Debbie gets it.
Well, it looks like you guys you have someone in your corner, and you guys have each other in your corner, and now you
Yes.
have all of us in your
Oh,
corner,
thank
because
you.
you have
Thank you,
entertained us
Dora.
Thank you.
so much,
Thanks,
and this
Dora.
was amazing. This was so
Thank
incredible.
you, honey.
And I won't say it was a treat, but it was incredible, and it was just a wonderful experience. I want to thank Jane and Kathy and Kelly and Christine and Carla, our technical librarian, and I want to thank the Friends of Greenwich Library for always sponsoring such amazing cultural and artistic events. Please join us for our other programs. I'm going to say something as nice. I don't know if you guys are old enough to will remember.
Carol Burnett.
Carol
Yes.
Burnett always did this at the end of
To
this.
her grandma.
Oh, that was to
I'm
her
so glad
sister.
to have, I can say I'm so glad to have this time together with all of you. Wishing everyone a wonderful evening, and thank you again for attending our first ever virtual comedy. We hope to have you on our actual stage so soon.
We do too.
Everyone be
Thank you,
safe,
Dora.
and thank you for
Thank you,
joining us.
Carla.
Thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you
Bye,
all.
everyone.
Greenwich.
Thank you,
Say good
everyone.
night,
Stay safe and healthy.
Gracie.
I'll see you in
You too.
class.
Say good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
Okay, good night, everybody.